Austin Ekeler requesting a trade. Mr. Austin Ekeler, who is 28 years old, on the last deal, last year of his deal, about $6 million owed to him and some change. And at least he's requesting to speak to other teams in regards to a trade because he wants to get paid. It doesn't look like he's getting paid. Again, $6.25 million due in 2023. What is scheduled to be his last year. What's he going to accomplish with this? Is he going to get a trade potentially, pushed into existence? Or will little Austin Ekeler, end up getting traded in 2023? We're going to break it all down and more. The Fantasy Football Show begins right now, pals. There's a lot of free agency talk coming today. This is a critical part of the fantasy football and NFL season, and a lot of things are happening today. A lot of movement. We got Jonnu Smith to the Falcons. We got all kinds of stuff coming down. So the Fantasy Football Show begins right now.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios. It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern.
Time to hit the news desk.
From the FantasyFootballShow.com news desk, here is your breaking news.
So Austin Ekeler potentially trying to kickstart a trade. I don't know if anything's going to come of this or not. He's definitely probably a hot commodity, but at the same time, he's 28 years old. He's a small-statured running back, a lot of mileage, was meant to be a hybrid Alvin Kamara type rusher. And when Melvin Gordon left LA, they essentially forced this guy into an every down role, a workhorse between the tackles, running back role. And honestly, I don't know that that's the best thing for this guy long term. You know what I mean? So he's walking into his 28 age season, and there's a real high likelihood that they're wanting to potentially move on versus inking him to some new contract. Now, some teams are a little oblivious to whether a running back's at the tail end of his career or not. I know some fantasy football worlds are oblivious to it as well. I know there's some people, the people that like to fight for the underdog, that think Austin Ekeler's got 2 or 3 years left. But the truth of the matter is, when you're 28 years old and you're a smaller running back and you have the mileage that Austin Ekeler has, the injury risk and potential injury probability that Austin Ekeler has, you're looking at probably no more elite years in full, at least. Could he be an elite player for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks? Yeah. I mean, predicting when the fall off happens is a lot tougher than predicting the year. Like, exactly when is tough. Even Derrick Henry, who's 29 years old, and a year older than Austin Ekeler, at 28, he did what we're saying Austin Ekeler probably can't do. So Derrick Henry maybe paved the way for him. I don't think so. I think Derrick Henry was an anomaly. Derrick Henry did defy all odds, playing one more elite year at 28 years old. But 28 is the new 30. 29 for Derrick Henry's case is the new 31. So Ekeler at the new 30, age 27 or age 28, is really looking at a potential big drop off at some point this year. So if the Chargers extended him on some massive contract, they would be making a grave mistake, because he's got at most, if I'm wrong, at most this 1 year in 2023. So they have him under contract. They don't need to extend him. They have him for what is probably his last year of playing elite football for even a big chunk of time, let alone for a full season. But I mean, who knows, man? All it takes is one person that wants to dance, and Austin Ekeler could be dancing somewhere else in 2023. So pretty crazy information to kick off the free agency. This is that tampering period, Monday through the end of Tuesday, and then Wednesday's the new league year, when everything actually gets kickstarted and contracts can actually be signed. The non-exclusive and exclusive franchise tag players can be spoken to. Those players are not involved in this 2-day period heading into the new league year on Wednesday. So Lamar Jackson, Tony Pollard, all these guys that have been franchise tagged, if like teams wanted to talk to, let's say, the non-exclusive guys mainly. So Lamar Jackson, no team could. But anybody that's been non-exclusive franchise tagged, which is most every franchise tag that has been slapped down, there's that two-round potential cost of pulling a player off of that team. No one's going to do it for Danny Dimes. No one's going to, or not Danny Dimes. No one's going to do it for Tony Pollard. Danny Dimes almost got the tag. No one's going to do it for Saquon Barkley. These are all tags that it's tough to imagine a team surrendering 2 first-rounders to try and go put down an offer sheet. But anybody with the non-exclusive tag can get an offer sheet slapped down on Wednesday, not Monday or Tuesday. Let's go. Bijan, look. We'll talk about Bijan in a second, but Bijan going to the Chargers at this 21 overall is a very likely scenario if, in fact, Bijan were to fall to 21. I don't know that he will. He could go as early as 6 through 10, or he could fall through what we call Bijan Row, which is the most... Why do I have Chicago sitting right here? It's supposed to be up here. This is what we call Bijan Row right here, where we feel like Bijan has the most likelihood of going in consecutive picks by every single team on this list. Well, the Raiders no longer because they franchise tagged Josh Jacobs, but this used to be what we call Bijan Row, I suppose. And now we're thinking, okay, if he gets to this 12 pick and doesn't get selected, then we have a grip of picks where we don't think he's going to go right here from like 13 through 17. Then the 18 overall pick by the Detroit Lions is a possibility. The Tampa Bay Bucks at 19. Seahawks won't take him. Miami Dolphins lost their 21 overall, so the Chargers have the 21 overall, which was supposed to be the 22. And they would most definitely take it. And if they don't, the safety net of all safety nets would be the Baltimore Ravens at 22, would certainly not let Bijan slip on past. And then the Vikings at 23 would be the safety net of safety nets. And there's just no way he falls to Dallas at 26 or anything like that. Man, what a way to kickstart the morning. Austin Ekeler, potentially, maybe he's on the move. The thing is, what team, I suppose if he's a second round pick, why wouldn't you trade for him? If you're the Buffalo Bills, why wouldn't you trade for him? Even if he cost you 2 second-round picks, if you're the Buffalo Bills and you could get Austin Ekeler to play like an elite player for as long as he'll play that way this year, and like I say with Derrick Henry, even though I'm a very cautious man in my advice giving around Derrick Henry and Austin Ekeler is very pessimistic and cautious, built around a lot of caution, and almost avoid them in first round territories. It's different when you're looking at it from an NFL lens, from an NFL team perspective, because you could get 4 games out of him and then he gets hurt and he comes back in week 10 and plays in the playoffs. And while he ruins your fantasy season, because it's hard to imagine Ekeler, especially Derrick Henry at 29, but Ekeler at 28, to play a full elite season without getting banged up and missing significant time. As an NFL club, you're the Bills, you're the Bengals. You need a difference maker to beat the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC. And you could get this player for a second or maybe 2 second-round picks. I'd do it in a heartbeat as an owner, as a club, as a GM. So Ekeler for a second-round pick at $6 million, because look what he's owed. This is nothing. $6 million. Austin Ekeler is due $6.25 million in 2023. What is scheduled to be his last year on his contract. So why not? Why not trade for him? I don't think the acquiring team would even care about giving him an extension. He could hold out once he's traded if he's not given an extension. But I mean, you can't, because at the end of the day, you're getting fined. He's going to pay well over $6 million in fines if he just kept sitting out. He'll maybe posture to sit out, right? But there's a real possibility Austin Ekeler is traded. And maybe there's some creative ways to trade him. Maybe there's a way that the Chargers move up a little bit, in the draft even, to potentially surrender Austin Ekeler. Like, there are creative ways to get something like this done. What if, let's say I'm trying to even think of a deal that would make sense, but I mean, if you're the Chargers and you want to trade up to get Bijan Robinson, maybe you're able to do that by sending him to one of these teams that's above. I mean, it's hard to imagine like going all the way up to 6 or something by trading Austin Ekeler. But if you could move up a handful of spots, like to that Eagles 10 pick, and you give Austin Ekeler, maybe there's some other pick exchanges. I mean, little things like that could happen. You just never know. But Austin Ekeler for a second, or a second and a third, or think about the Christian McCaffrey trade: a second, a third, and a fourth round pick. If Austin Ekeler was traded for a second, a third, and a fourth round pick, I would consider that a steal for the acquiring club. You know what I'm saying? First in the building today was Ben. Ben, appreciate you. Casey in the building. Justin, Jeb, TM42, Lee, Mitch, John, and Robert, Frank, Danger. Appreciate you all being here. File on in. Phone lines are open if you want to dial in.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Whole lot of information. Denver is giving former Ravens guard Ben Powers 4 years, $52 million. That includes $28 million in guaranteed money. A lot of stuff dropping already. Chicago Bears are looking like they're going to try and sign Mike McGlinchey, which is what we talked about for the last couple days on the show, that the Chicago Bears and the Miami Dolphins are going after these tackles and offensive linemen. Orlando Brown, McGlinchey, they're going to Miami or Chicago. Chicago and Miami are doing damage, and they're going to do some amazing things. Teams like the Niners might sit back like they normally do. They're very active on draft day, but very, very inactive during the beginning of free agency. They always have been. Jimmy G's being rumored to potentially be probably heading to the Raiders, which is what we've talked about quite a bit on the show in terms of landing spots for Jimmy G. And what this does for Devante Adams, what this doesn't do for Devante Adams. If Jimmy G ends up landing, where's Jimmy? Jimmy G ends up landing with the Raiders. I honestly, I'd love to know where you guys would drop Devante Adams, but he's certainly, hold on, there's some Packer news. Not Aaron Rodgers. News Packers fans have been waiting for. Thanks, Ian, for that little teaser. Now I don't trust you anymore, Ian. Ian says they've agreed to terms on all-pro returner Nixon on a 1-year deal, max value $6 million per source. Way to go. Way to tease there, Adam Schefter. Okay, so we got Shaq Mason. Bucks are exploring trade possibilities with guard Shaq Mason. According to sources, with a $9.6 million cap hit, Mason could become a cap casualty. We got that piece of information out there. We got TJ Edwards. Let's see, frenzy homecoming for linebacker TJ Edwards, who is signing a 3-year deal with the Bears. Bears have been busy. Former Eagles exec, let's see, GM expecting players. I'm just skimming through some of this. Those are some of the news. We got Jonnu Smith being traded to the Falcons, which is a head-scratching move. Maybe they want him blocking more, and they're sending Kyle Pitts out to wide receivers. A few of you, and myself included, have been saying and thinking and DMing me like crazy. Hopefully that's the case. Doesn't make sense to spend so much money. The Falcons. The Falcons have been busy so far. Signing offensive guard Chris Lindstrom to a $105 million deal over 5 years. Then trading for Jonnu Smith. They're going to convert a lot of Jonnu Smith's contract to make it a very team-friendly deal for the Falcons. So doesn't sound like it's going to affect the cap too much, but the fact that they're signing a $105 million offensive lineman, that's a big dollar amount. They're not interested, supposedly, according to sources, which I don't fully buy yet. They're not interested in Lamar Jackson. So, just a weird couple moves for the Falcons when you think about what they're doing. Like, they better be going after Lamar. And again, for anybody that says, oh, but the sources, Smitty. The sources say that Lamar is not going to be acquired or even pursued by the Atlanta Falcons. We don't know what the sources are really saying. We don't know what the Falcons are doing. And if you're the Atlanta Falcons and somebody comes out and a bogus news report says you're not interested in Lamar, what are you going to do? Correct it? No. You're going to roll in stealth-like and say, you think I'm not going after Lamar? Great. Awesome. Fantastic. Let's let everybody think we're not going after Lamar. Why would you want people to know you're going after Lamar if they thought you weren't, if you want to come in and try and put down an offer sheet before anybody else on Wednesday. Again, the non-exclusive franchise tag players like Lamar, they can't even be spoken to until Wednesday. They're not a part of this free agent tampering period from Monday through the end of Tuesday. This is for free agents, not for franchise tag players. Lamar doesn't have an agent, so there's no back channeling going on. There's no possible way to know what teams are really thinking unless Adam Schefter and sources are leaking stuff out the back door. But do you trust somebody that's leaking something out the back door, or somebody with authority that would put their name to something? I'm not going to put much weight or hold much authority with some of these reports, or allow them to hold authority until I hear something from a person of authority. So if we're talking about the Atlanta Falcons being out, the Washington Commanders being out, I'm going to wait and see. The Falcons would be stupid to be out on Lamar Jackson. The Washington Commanders would be stupid to be out on Lamar Jackson. Not to mention the Falcons are making these questionable moves. If they were not going after Lamar, it wouldn't make sense to even care about what they're doing. Like, let's give a guard $100 million for what? To protect Ritter? Well, let's bring in Jonnu Smith. If that's blocking, it makes sense. And so we'll have to see how this is all playing out. It's definitely been an interesting day so far, and it's just begun. But the Austin Ekeler news is definitely pretty big. Fullback tight end Andrew Beck plans to sign with the Houston Texans per source. 2-year, $6.75 million deal. Let's see. Defensive tackle. Let's see here. There's other news somewhere in here. There's a lot of news kind of pouring in. There's a lot of linemen, a lot of predictions of re-signings and things like that. Nothing can get inked until Wednesday, by the way. But man, what a crazy little beginning. Love to know what you guys think about Austin Ekeler. Who thinks Austin Ekeler is going to actually be moved? Phone lines are open. Dial in if you want to get into the show. Phone lines are open. We can talk about Austin Ekeler right now.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Smitty, their sources tend to be right most of the time. I don't know about that, bro. It depends who's reporting it. Sources aren't right in general. If Ian Rappaport or Adam Schefter say something about sources, they can tend to be right more than not. But no, bro. If you look at sources through this part of smoke season, nothing's really accurate at all. It depends on the time of year. In general, I don't think you could say sources are accurate or not accurate. It depends on when we're talking. If it's smoke season, you're going to about 80% of what you hear is going to be smoke. It's just the nature of it. Plus, keep in mind, bro, sources are there as a manipulation tactic. Just like I explained this other night, that one of the big downsides of Lamar not having an agent is agents are owed favors all over the place, bro. This is so well known. Like, this is not a conspiracy. Agents will literally call up and say something like this. They'll call up and they'll go, hey, Atlanta, you owe me a favor. Remember when I worked that deal out for you? You told me you wanted this, and I figured it out. I want you to leak that you have interest in Lamar Jackson. It'll help kickstart my client. Just let it leak somewhere. Okay, it doesn't have to be a big thing. Just let it leak. That's how agents work. So to AC, and you're my boy Blue, but sources are not even close to being right in smoke season because they're designed for misdirection and luring in teams to get into a bidding war with a player where there might not be a war going on. So there's a total manipulation angle to sources and agents and the way they operate right now during smoke season. So Ekeler to Detroit, says Seth. I mean, wouldn't shock me at the cost of a second round pick. I mean, goodness gracious, at the cost of a second, a third, and a fourth rounder, I would do it in a heartbeat. Even though I, from a fantasy perspective, am ignoring Ekeler in round one. I just don't want to go down that road of him playing eight elite weeks. And understand that I'm telling you that I acknowledge that Austin Ekeler could be an absolute monster in week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 7, 8, maybe double-digit weeks is when he falls off. So I'm not going to feel bad about myself, not eat my meatloaf when mom brings it down to the basement. I'm not going to care at all. Okay, if I end up being wrong on this for half of a season, because I'm telling you up front, I think he can be a beast for 6 games, 12 games, 10 games. But push comes to shove, very hard for me to imagine Ekeler being there for 17 weeks of fantasy football. And at the end of the day, is it going to burn you more to draft him in round 1 versus a Bijan, who's going to probably have a higher likelihood, anybody can get hurt, but a higher likelihood of being there for the whole season, or a guy like Tyreek Hill, and anybody can get hurt in that regard too. But these are safer players to me. It's not like I don't have a line in the sand where Ekeler goes from avoid, line in the sand, crosses that line, flips into okay, I'm going to take him. Just like I complain about Kamara all the time. Kamara's a bum. Kamara should be put on the commissioner exempt list, paid until they figure out what to do, instead of letting him just roam around and play football potentially in week 1. So, but do I draft Ekeler? Yeah, there's a line in. I'm sorry. Do I draft Kamara? Yeah, there's a line in the sand where Kamara goes from an avoid, flips into it. Well, it's round 10. Why not? Round 10. Why not? That's fantasy football. That's fantasy football. That's value. That's ADP. That's line in the sand. We talk about it all the time as a club. So I'm not going to be wrong. If Ekeler balls out for 10 straight weeks, I'm not feeling wrong. I don't care. As a club, though, it's different. As a club, you can rest him. You can pull him back, not give him as much work in the middle weeks, making him less relevant, whatever. But then you go into the playoffs with Austin Ekeler. You go into the playoffs with Derrick Henry. Maybe they're hurt by then. But if you could scale him back, trade for him, scale him back, make sure you keep him healthy. If I was a club, I would bring in Ekeler. I would bring in Henry at the cost of a 2nd, 3rd, and 4th round pick. The same package that acquired Christian McCaffrey, I would slap down. If I was the Bengals, the Bills, or any one of these competing teams, I would slap down a 2nd, a 3rd, and a 4th rounder to bring Austin Ekeler to town. Or Derrick Henry, or Nick Chubb. Derrick Henry, Nick Chubb, Austin Ekeler, all 3 potential running backs talked about at least. Probably not even 2 of them will be moved, if even 1. But if Derrick Henry's moved, that's probably the most likely. I would say Ekeler might be the 2nd most likely to move of the 3. Nick Chubb, the 3rd most likely to the least likely to move of the 3. Because I feel like Cleveland thinks they can compete now. I'm not saying they necessarily can't, but it's a tall order for Cleveland to do amazingly in 2023. But Cleveland has a better shot. Not necessarily over the Chargers, but over the Titans. And so that makes me think that there's probably not as much likelihood or legs to the Nick Chubb potential trade. I think the Cleveland Browns will probably want to hold him and try and go for another season of attempting to turn people's minds around and show that they can be a division winner, which I don't think they can be. As for Austin Ekeler, I mean, the Chargers can win now, but they're a mess, and if Eckler's going to put up a stink, they may give him permission to seek out a trade partner, right? But if the offer's not going to blow the Chargers, away, they're just going to say no. But what's the harm in letting him go check it out? Maybe he goes and finds there's no market. I highly doubt that, but with running backs, you never know, and teams are very cautious about RBs. So maybe he goes out there and he gets kind of set in his place. They might think that could be an option that could happen, an outcome from letting him go test the trade waters. But if a team comes in and says, we'll give you 2 seconds, and they're like, you know what, let's turn that into 2 seconds. We'll turn that into moving our 21 overall up to get Bijan. Or at 21, who's to say that this team, the Chargers, the LA Chargers, don't want to maybe move this 21 up a little bit or down a little bit, take Charbonnet or Jahmyr Gibbs. Gibbs is very Alvin Kamara. He's very Alvin Kamara-like, but he's very Austin Ekeler-like as well, who is what we're talking about right here. So if the Chargers take Charbonnet or Gibbs, that fits as well. It's a little early at 21, so they could move down for that. But, who's to say they don't trade Ekeler for 2 second-round picks, take Jahmyr Gibbs, take Charbonnet. Or if Bijan were to fall, they take Bijan, but I don't think Bijan will fall. You never know, but he could fall there. This is a lot. This is a lot of information to take in already. It's crazy, and I got to keep refreshing because they just keep flying in every single moment. Former Raiders QB Jarrett Stidham signing a 2-year deal, $10 million with the Broncos. Whew. Broncos, let's ride. Wow. Okay, Stidham. We see you, Stidham. Stidham getting a $10 million deal. That means Jimmy's going to get like a 50. No, he's going to get like I don't know. Jimmy's going to get like a $100 million, 30 mil a year deal or something from the Raiders. This is crazy. This is crazy, bros. This is crazy, man. Okay, so that's that so far. I'm just gonna keep refreshing Twitter. Stidham is I mean, maybe maybe they use him. He had a pretty decent showing at times last year, but like I don't know. Sean Payton's protecting himself. It's probably a smart move to get a quarterback in there. I just don't know if Stidham's the guy. But I don't know. Like at the same time, I don't know that Russ is the guy. It's good to get a quarterback in there to honestly, safeguard yourself if you're Sean Payton. But we literally have no QB on the roster now. Says Jared. Who's we? Jared? I don't know who that is. Russ lost his job. Says Mike. I don't know. I kind of feel like both Stidham is a good signing and a bad signing, just because I don't know that he is the legit real deal. I hope he does, especially to the Raiders. Jimmy's going to destroy Adams' value. Can we get a vote on where you drop Adams if Jimmy lands with the Raiders? He's currently Adams' top 5 if he had like A-Rod, right? Or he had Derek Carr, top 5 wide receiver. Devante Adams is a top, you could even say 3 to 5 wide receiver with Aaron Rodgers or Carr. Where do you drop Adams with Jimmy G? Who knows how to throw the ball about 3 or 4 yards down the field. If Jimmy G is the starter for the Raiders, which is looking more and more likely, I'm dropping Adams out of my top 5, and I'm probably dropping him if I had to guess. Let me pull up some rankings here. Maybe we marker board it out, and we try to figure out where we would rank Adams at this point. Let's go ahead and marker board this out. I don't know where I would put him off the top of my head. So let's pull up my redraft rankings. Let's take a look at them and let's figure out. Let's marker board this. So if we were gonna try and marker board, we'll have to go through the teams again. I think after some of these free agent moves, we might have some adjustments to make. That was funny. We had that from last time. Those are my division winners and then my wild card picks. Still top 10. Still top tier. 15 maybe for Devante. Top 8. Adams, wide receiver 10 to 15. It's going to happen. Jimmy to the Raiders makes sense for. Yeah, I mean, it's the connections there. We've been expecting it for some time. So let's just say JJ or Chase, doesn't really matter which one's your 1 or 2. Okay, so we're gonna do one of these and then we're gonna do like that, like whatever. Tier break, but it's a small tier break, and we have Cooper Kupp. We have we had Adams. Let's put Adams here. This is where he was now, or currently is now. And then right here we have probably Hill. 6, we have Diggs. 7, I think Garrett Wilson. And let me just say that Wilson has the capability of jumping up. No question about it, just so you know. But like ranking-wise, we got Diggs, right? We got Diggs. We got Adams. We got Cooper Kupp. Lamb. We got Lamb. A.J. Brown. A.J.B. 9, we got like Waddle. And these aren't in exact order. I'm just kind of spitballing them. I obviously could change St. Brown and Olave. So 10 would be like St. Brown, Olave. Some would say T. Higgins right here. Devante Smith. So, Debo, we're getting to that territory there. But Adams, if Jimmy G is in Las Vegas. Cooper. Duran says Cooper. Not yet, bro. You're getting a little excited. Calm down, Duran. Get a little excited about Amari Cooper, man. We can't put Amari Cooper up here with Olave and St. Brown and Waddle. He had a good year last year. Let's give him that. But DJ Moore, yeah, all those guys are definitely like in this territory here. But Adams falls below Hill. He falls below Diggs. He falls below Wilson. Adams falls below probably Lamb and AJB. He probably goes in this. I mean, I might like St. Brown more than Adams if Jimmy G's throwing to him. I'd say like right around this territory. This is where Adams probably goes for me. In between, above, below, so I don't know yet. Somewhere in that 9 to 11 range for Adams. I just don't know, push came to shove, if Jimmy G's throwing him the rock, if I'm interested in Adams above St. Brown or Olave. To be honest with you, I just don't know. I love Adams. He's a straight baller. But Jimmy G, this is not a facilitator. This is not. Everyone says he wins games. He's not going to win games in a Raiders uniform. He's not going to do anything. He's going to be very pedestrian, and he'll probably lose his job. He'll probably get hurt. This is going to be a disaster. I wouldn't blame anybody for taking Adams out of their top 10. I wouldn't blame you. I'm not saying I'm doing it yet. I don't know what I'm doing yet. But, I mean, how the heck are we going to value Devante Adams if Jimmy G's a Las Vegas Raider? What a debacle and disaster and just a disappointment. Way to go, Raiders. Way to go. Raiders, you have the opportunity to go get Lamar Jackson. Instead, you're going to pay Jimmy G $30+ million a year and completely crap the bed when you could go get Lamar for another $15 million a year, figure out some team-friendly contract, do a lot of upfront money, whatever you got to do, and go all in on your Devante Adams, Josh Jacobs situation you got going on. You're going to go get Jimmy G. You franchise tag this guy, Josh Jacobs, and maybe ruined his career, because now what's he going to do? If he has a bad year and a bad offense with Jimmy G leading the way, what's Jacobs going to get next year? Nothing. He's not going to get his big fat contract next year. You ruined this man Jacobs' opportunity, who had an amazing career year last year, leading rusher, and you franchise tag him for what? Let me hold you in place with, they call it the prison tag in the NFL. Let me prison tag you and keep you in Las Vegas because we're going on a run. We're going to reload. We're going to get Jimmy G in here and we're going to reload. And now you're going to ruin this guy's career because Josh Jacobs is going to walk out of 2023 with a really bad season under the command of Jimmy G. Probably get hurt because he's facing 15-man boxes. It's gonna 23 people in the box. That's how it's going to feel. That's how it's going to feel. There's going to be a 2-for-1 going on in terms of hits when it comes to Josh Jacobs going through I wouldn't even call it an A or a B gap. We'll call it a cement wall gap. Little crevice, maybe. A little crevice. This Josh Jacobs character is going to get abused, and he's getting nothing. $10 million. It's a nice, handsome salary. I'm not saying anybody should feel too sorry for a player getting paid $10 million, but he gets franchise tagged for what? Jimmy G? You're holding this guy in place for Jimmy G? Give Zamir White some run, for goodness sake. Why bring Jacobs back at all? What a disaster. What a disaster for the Raiders. And Raiders fans are going to be so upset. And they're just going to sink their head into their arms. They're probably not going to go to the games. They're going to wear bags over their head at the stadium. Jimmy G is going to be your quarterback. Are you out of your minds? Are you out of your minds? What are you going to do? What's Adams going to do? 1,100 yards and 7 touchdowns? Maybe 1,000 if he's lucky. Bed Bath & Beyond, Home Depot. I don't know if we'll have time. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Jacobs regretting the franchise tag right now. Well, he had no choice. There's no regretting. He's just pissed about it. He got slapped with the tag. It is what it is. He can't escape it. And he just wishes to God. This is a nightmare for him. Waking up and Jimmy G's your quarterback. Who's going to play Deebo Samuel? Because that's the only way Jimmy G can throw the football. Is it Renfro? Is Adams going to turn into a Deebo? Do the Raiders even know to do that? Does Jimmy G come with a playbook? Like, is there an attached like instruction manual hooked on his collar and it says, hey, make sure you convert Adams to Deebo Samuel, okay, then I'm starting to maybe get on board this Adams situation. Are they going to throw to Adams at the line of scrimmage about 50 times during the season? Probably not. I don't think they're smart enough to do that. I don't think the Raiders are smart enough to do that. The field position is going to be awful. Jimmy G, give Jimmy G no field position over and over and over. How do you think that's going to fare? How do you think that's going to work out for you? Who misses more games, Lamar or Jimmy? Depends on where Lamar goes, Robert. If Lamar goes back to Baltimore, it's going to be a close race, my guy. And I'm all out on Lamar Jackson in Baltimore. He's an absolute bust in Baltimore. Or at least a near lock as a bust in Baltimore. You put Lamar in Atlanta. You put Lamar in Washington. You put Lamar in a couple different spots. Tennessee, I don't know that there's much difference between Baltimore and Tennessee, but at least we don't know what Tennessee's going to hold for him. We know what Baltimore is going to hold for him. Injury. Lamar's a bust if he goes back to Baltimore. Injury. Why these teams aren't going after Lamar? Ridiculous. And part of me's worked up when I don't even know if I should be worked up because I don't believe all the sources. I believe some of them are probably correct, but I don't believe all of them. And the Raiders may be one of them, Mike. Mike says he doesn't. Maybe they try. I hope they try. I hope they slap an offer sheet down for Lamar. If they bring in Jimmy G and don't even go test driving Lamar Jackson, they're absolute borderline imbecile. So we'll see. Let's see what this says. This is going to be a very, very optimistic look, I think. I think Adams, let's read. I can't even read this. This is going to disgust me. Here we go. Code, I appreciate you. Don't get mad at me. I'm just, here we go. I need to read this for.
I think Adams turns into a security blanket, like a cop. For Jimmy G in San Fran, he had all these superstars to throw to, and now he's going to have to rely on Adams more than most.
Nice story, Cod. It's a good story. It's a cute story. But unfortunately, Jimmy G, he can't survive. Carr couldn't survive in Las Vegas. You think Jimmy G's going to A, stay upright, B, have bad field position and march this ball down the field? Jimmy G's going to get worked. He's going to get worked as a Raider. He's going to work the Raiders getting a big fat payday, and then he's going to get worked by defenses. And this team, this Las Vegas Raider team, has probably the worst defense in the National Football League. You give the offense Jimmy G instead of Derek Carr, guess what? The defense is on the field even more, which means the offense will be horrible and the defense will be even worse. The defense will be the worst it's ever been this year because of the offense not at least stretching the field a little bit like Derek Carr could. It's going to be a disaster. And I know a lot of you Jimmy G lovers out there are going to be like, Smitty, you're just a Jimmy hater. I'm not a Jimmy hater. I'm a realist. Jimmy G's not it, pal. He's not it. Stop trying to pretend he wins games. He doesn't. You're about to see why. You're about to see when you take him out of San Francisco, he's like, he turns back into a pumpkin. Okay? Jimmy G you're at the club and the lights are off. In San Francisco, the lights are off at the club. He goes out of San Francisco. It's like turning the lights on at the club. You're about to see what you're really going to get. Okay? He's going to turn right into a pumpkin. If you're even lucky. If you're lucky enough, he doesn't turn into a squash. Raiders are a debacle. I don't know what's worse. The Raiders or the Ravens. You know, at this point. Get rid of Carr for Jimmy. Unbelievable, Joe. This statement right here sums up my ability to be baffled to the 100th degree. Get rid of Derek Carr, problem child. Derek Carr. Get rid of Derek Carr. Let's bring in Jimmy G. What a dumb move. Steven from Mass, what's up, pal?
What's going on, my man? Hey, Spinny, just a couple of things. I have it on the NFL Network, and they're saying that Lamar Jackson. Teams can't approach him until the league year starts. I don't know if you knew about that.
Oh yeah, I know, Steven. Yeah, we've been talking about that. They're not a part of free agency. This tampering period. This tampering period from Monday through Tuesday is for free agents. Wednesday is when the non-exclusive tag players can be spoken to. If they're spoken to, or he calls up and they speak to him, it's tampering. And so you'd lose a first-round draft pick. You get punished to the ends of the earth. And the fact that there are some back-channel agent negotiations that can potentially be in the works between an agent and team, very loose conversations, people say, he can't have that because he doesn't have an agent. So he can't even, this is on Lamar. He can't even discuss or negotiate with teams through his agent, through back channels. So he's waiting. And guess what he has to do on Wednesday? No one's going to call him. He's got to pick up the phone and go, hey, Atlanta, this is Lamar's mother or Lamar. Both of us. I got her on three-way. Hi! We're both on the line here. Let me give you my cell. Here's my cell. It's 655 Lamar. Okay, call me anytime, day or night. Offer sheets. We got a fax line hooked up at in Ma's kitchen. Just send an offer sheet over, and we'll go ahead and take care of it. That's what's going to happen, bro. Lamar's dropping the ball and making it a lot more difficult on himself and the teams that want to acquire him. Let's get that out of there, out in front. But at the same time, teams are still stupid if they don't go after Lamar because him and his mom are negotiating this. You got to go get him. If you're the Falcons, you got to go get him.
Well, touching on that, you know what? Who they've been saying that these analysts have been saying that's kind of dumb that they haven't done anything is the Indianapolis Colts. They're sitting there at number 4. Unless they don't try to trade up for number 1, they could go with like the 4th best quarterback, and they could literally take that number 4 pick and a first next year and just trade for Lamar. I don't know why they haven't tried to offer that to the Ravens.
I mean, they should do that. If Lamar doesn't get offer sheets, there could be a situation where Lamar does end up getting traded, like, in a traditional sense, and it's possible. The only thing is when you slap a non-exclusive tag on a player that is more than deserving of 2 first-round picks. And I'm sorry, I don't care who's listening right now that disagrees with me. Steven says that he disagrees with me. He thinks Lamar's not worth 3 first-rounders. He is. I don't know that the consensus is that he isn't. I think that there's being a narrative's being painted about Lamar right now because he's frustrating. He's a frustrating person to not have an agent. That's the way teams are going to look at him. Every team's going to look at him with annoyance. Why do you not have an agent in a world where you have to have a law degree or economics degree or some sort of degree in contract, creation and such, in a realm that's touching that area of expertise? Like, this is not, what's he going to do? Take it to LegalZoom? What's he going to do with his contract? He's going to take it to an attorney and have an attorney look it over and try and, this is what an agent's for. And you get all the back channel strategic moves. I'm telling you, bro, you don't know how many times an agent goes out of their way for a team and the team owes the agent. Okay, so if I'm Agent Bob and Lamar's my client, I'm calling up a team that doesn't want him and I'm saying, hey, Washington, I hear you're not interested in a quarterback. We can't say Lamar's name. We can't tamper. We can't tamper, Steven. It's Monday and Tuesday. We can't tamper until Wednesday. We can't do anything, right? But I'm an agent. I can back channel this, Steven. I can call up Washington and say, remember when I got you Carson Wentz? Remember when I did you that favor? Remember? Or remember when we got rid of Carson Wentz? Whatever. Remember when I got you those tickets to that Rihanna concert? Huh? You remember that? This is Agent Bob calling Washington. You owe me. I want you to leak that you want Lamar Jackson. I don't care if it comes from, the assistant of plumbing, or your, the girl guy that walks around the stadium and goes cigars and cigarettes. I don't care who you have spilled the beans. I want somebody leaking that you want Lamar, and I want it done by 4 p.m. Bye. Agent Bob hangs up the phone. Lamar Jackson needs that sort of tactic and manipulation and back channeling via an agent. Agents do this all the time. There are so many layers and levels to this deceitful smoke season territory. And Lamar's getting none of that. In fact, he can't even, I don't even think these teams have his number. He's got to call them and let them know how to reach him. And so Lamar's stepping on himself and getting in the way. But teams would be stupid to not trade. And so if no offer sheets come in, Steven, and this heads toward a more traditional trade that downstream, that's possible. But teams, regardless of how frustrated they are with Lamar, if you're sitting there without a quarterback and you're the Falcons, if you're sitting there without McGlinchey, a massive 5-year deal with the Broncos. Wow. Okay,
hey,
so
that's not all. Hargraves just got picked up by the 49ers. That was a big trade.
Yeah, so right tackle Mike McGlinchey, massive 5-year deal worth $87.5 million, $50 million in guaranteed for a tackle. That's a crazy number. And then we got let's see here, offensive line Nick Gates, who broke his tibia against Washington 2021, battled his way back. We don't need to hear about that. Sorry, we'll come back to you, pal. Hargrave has reached an agreement, 4-year, $84 million deal, includes $40 million guaranteed in signing with the Niners, who are actually active for the first time, Steven. But yeah, that's those two things just broke. McGlinchey, that's a great move for the Broncos. Hargrave, that's a good move as well for the Niners.
Well, the rich just get richer with the 49ers. I mean,
yeah.
just keep putting in guys in defense. I feel like they just have to figure out what they want to do at quarterback. And they could be like, so 49ers and Miami could probably be in like the same boat. Like they're both teams that have this like loaded rosters, but then they're just trying to figure out what like question marks when it comes to quarterback, what they're gonna do.
Yeah, they definitely are trying to support Russ, but I mean, getting Stidham kind of shows that they need somebody else as well, but they're worried about Russ a little bit. But yeah, Niners finally getting active in free agency early on. That's pretty nice to see. And Jimmy G's the reason they didn't last year, so good for the Niners. Although they need offensive line, they need to protect their quarterbacks. I'd rather see them go after an offensive line piece than a defensive piece. So we'll see. Lions signing Cam Sutton to a 3-year deal worth $33 million, $21 guaranteed. Look, a lot of these guaranteed deals. Niner Rick, I know you're excited, but you guys need to protect your quarterbacks more than anything. So you better start working on that. Not defensive tackles and all. You need to start working on all this stuff. Smitty, you said Eagles bringing everyone back, but they'll have 11 players hitting free agency. They also have 2 first-round draft picks, bro. So whatever they lose, we'll see what happens, bro. We'll see what actually happens, who actually goes, who actually doesn't come back. It's a little early to assume we know the exact number of how many people are actually going to leave and not re-sign and all that. So we gotta wait and see. But the Eagles are still bringing back a boatload of people, bro. And if you think the Eagles are like soft now because you're a Niner fan, Niner Rick, you're just hating. You're just hating because the Eagles are absolute glorious. A glorious machine that's going to come in with the 10 and number 30 overall pick and do some serious damage in the draft. So get ready for that. Josh McDaniels calling Tom Brady every day now. Maybe, bro. This is a good start.
I don't even think that guy's. I know a lot of people are saying that this could be a make or break year for Josh McDaniels, but the way that the ownership is treating that guy, he might survive this year too, even if they do have another bad season. The way that the ownership just loves him.
Travis says Niners better pray Purdy or once. Maybe you mean Lance. Purdy or Lance work out. Yeah, I mean you gotta block him. You gotta block him, bro. You gotta block for him. Glorious machine, yes, Smitty. They are. The Eagles are a glorious, well-oiled machine. I don't care if they lose some guys. They'll be fine. You need to score 50 points to beat the Eagles next season. Exactly right. And their defense, they'll work on that. They got that number 10 overall and number 30 overall picks. Let's get real, people. Let's get real. You better hope they lose 11 guys. All you Niner fans out there that just hate the Eagles, you better hope they lose 11 guys because they got the 10 and they got the 30 pick. And if they drop Bijan Robinson, you might as well just kiss your NFC championship hopes goodbye because the Eagles are going to pound the rock. and Lamar and Jalen Hurts is going to have even more room to run. You know what I'm saying? Lots going on here, my guy. Lots going on. I would say we're not done. I'd say we're what, hour and 30 minutes into this? We got a whole bunch of news. It could slow a little bit and then kind of pick back up in the afternoon. We'll be live anytime news breaks. This is big enough news to break. I think Austin Ekeler requesting a trade or requesting permission to speak to teams, and then Wednesday we'll know what's what. But I wouldn't be shocked if Eckler's gone. Wouldn't be shocked if Henry, Ekeler, or Chubb, one of the three, maybe two, but probably one. It probably is Henry the most likely, are traded this offseason for a second and a third round pick, or a second, third, and fourth round pick, which was the package that Christian McCaffrey required. And that was a fantastic move by the Niners, and other teams should be doing it. These teams chasing the Kansas City Chiefs and trying to one-up them to take them out next year need to go get an RB like that. You give Buffalo Henry or Ekeler, even if I'm worried about them playing a full season, and it's a fantastic move from a club.
Do you rank Justin Herbert down? Like, if they do get rid of Austin Ekeler and they can't like put like an offensive piece around him, because it seems like they don't even know how to support this guy.
And if he stays, you mean?
No, I mean, because if Austin Ekeler, like if he ends up getting dealed out, and because the offense might take a significant hit.
Yeah, if they trade Austin Ekeler, I mean, I like Trevor Lawrence and Fields, obviously Fields and Trevor Lawrence over Herbert now anyway. But like we're talking about Aaron Rodgers and redraft over Herbert. We're talking about Herbert being a big potential risk. I love Herbert's skill set, but I mean, you take away Austin Ekeler and you don't replace him with Bijan, Gibbs, or Charbonnet immediately. Like if they just draft another RB and they kind of figure, I don't know.
Yeah. And also, too, is like what you're talking about with like Austin Ekeler, he gets hurt. I mean, he has Keenan Allen, who's even going in the last season, like he was barely out on the field. Every time it looked like he was coming back, he had a couple of setbacks. And Mike Williams too is the same thing. Like he makes like these great catches every time he's on the field, but there's two guys that just can't stay on the field. So I think that they should try to figure out how to get some solid like wide receivers who are at least like durable for the guy.
They need to take Jackson Smith and Jigba. They need to keep Austin Ekeler. Like, if I was in control of this thing, I would say to myself, look, Herbert gives you an ability to rebuild again around a new squad, right? So, but you have a window of time. The Chargers have a window of time to win a championship. Whether people think that's a joke or not, they have the ability. So they really need to. Thank you, John. I'll look at that on the clock in a league or in a best ball draft. They have the ability to like be a contender if they keep Ekeler, which they don't have to trade Ekeler. Ekeler could say, I want to be traded all I want. They're accepting his request to go seek out a potential trade partner, or maybe they're going to deny it. But if they accept it, guess what? Ekeler can go talk to whoever he wants. The Chargers don't have to do a thing. He's under contract. Yeah. If he tries to hold out, guess what happens? He gets fined. He's not holding out. He can pretend to hold out. He can hold out to a certain degree, and then he's got to come back. So if I'm the Chargers, I deny his trade situation. I let him go talk to see if somebody knocks my socks off. You know what I mean? But I deny the trade. I tell him, look, Ekeler, you're coming back. It is what it is. You're 28 years old. What do you want me to do? This is a business. I'm not running a charity here. This is a business. You're 28 years old. You've got mileage through the roof. We're not giving you a 4-year deal at 28 years old. Nice try. I don't blame you for trying. You're 28 years old as an RB. That's it. Okay? So you're going to play your 28 age season out. Then you can go do whatever you want. And then what do? I move that 21 overall up if I've got to. Or I pray to God that Quentin Johnston, Jackson Smith and Jigba, or Zay Flowers falls to me. And then I go for a Super Bowl run. And then after that, when Ekeler walks out, okay, then you start rebuilding, and Herbert's young enough that it's going to take 1, 2, 3 years, but you'll have another team again in 1 to 2 to 3 years, and you rebuild. So you have a window, you strike, and that's it. If they get rid of Ekeler now, then their Super Bowl run and they're rebuilding immediately, which isn't the end of the world. They just started a little earlier, and that's fine. Like they bring in Jahmyr Gibbs, Charbonnet, or Jackson Smith and Jigba. They get rid of Ekeler, and then they have kind of a mediocre year. They come in, they draft another RB, and they start like building that way. That's okay. Maybe they bring in Montgomery or something. David Montgomery. They trade Ekeler for a second, a third, and a fourth, like McCaffrey, and then they bring in Montgomery. It was a pretty good year there. Montgomery's not bad. So like there's options.
They could also bring in Miles Sanders too. You never know. He wasn't that bad.
Yeah. Frank, if he even fell, they'd probably have to trade up to get Bijan. I think you'd be I think reckless as the Chargers. Not you, Frank. Frank, you're probably a real straight, narrow guy, straight edge. But this Charger team would be reckless, Frank, if they assume Bijan would be there at 21 overall. But they'd have to trade up. You couldn't leave it to chance. If Bijan was your target, you could not wait until 21. Wonder where Ekeler will land. Buffalo, Cincinnati. Wouldn't shock me if Casey said, "Hey, hey." They wouldn't trade him in that division. But
did you? I was just gonna say, did you see Dalvin Cook wanted to get a trade too? I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, Dalvin Cook. Look, hey, we all want things. Dalvin Cook wants a trade. Dalvin Cook wants a new shoulder. Maybe he gets traded, but it's possible. It's possible. But I mean, what team's gonna want to take on that shoulder? What team's gonna want to take on that injury risk? I don't know. Maybe for 1 year, fine. Rental, Buffalo Bills. I mean, that's why Chubb, Dalvin Cook, Derrick Henry, Austin Ekeler. One of those guys is probably getting moved, and when you think about the cost of doing it for RB, it's so cheap. It's, probably for Cook it'd be a couple thirds or a third and a fourth. I don't even think he'd be a second. And I'd do that. Okay, here we go. We got another piece of news here. Bosa, what's this? What's this here? Wow. Bosa. Javon, oh, he's just saying Javon and Eric. Okay. I thought something happened with Bosa. Bosa's waiting for his. Saints defensive line. Let's see here. Ian Rappaport and Schefter are going nuts right now. There's a lot. There's almost too much to even report. A lot of defensive signings. A lot of things going on right now. We'll touch on it later. But Chargers lost to the Jaguars because of Ekeler. No way they move him in that division. Yeah, I mean, Ekeler getting traded inside the division is really unlikely. But if anybody could do it, it'd be KC. Somehow they figure out a way to do it. I don't know. This is crazy, bro.
Yeah, no, it is. I'm still just waiting for that shooter drop with Aaron Rodgers, man. Whenever that's going to happen.
Yeah. I mean, wouldn't that be nuts if all this started to calm down and then all of a sudden, Yeah. Chargers are probably not trading in the AFC West. Stranger things have happened, but it's probably not going to happen. Let's say they wanted to trade Ekeler out of the AFC and they wanted to trade him into the NFC. The Eagles, the Lions, depending on what the Bucks do at quarterback.
You think that Chicago would trade for one of those guys, or you think that they're just better off just trying to do the rebuild? Because some of those guys, they're out older, so maybe they don't try going in the market.
They're going young. I don't think they're going to acquire Ekeler. They're just going young. They're building it right. Yeah, they're building it right, bro. Well, Steven, I'm going to jump for now. I've got 135 in here. Unless anybody else wants to dial in real quick.
Yeah, that's fine. Thanks, man. I just wanted to call in and just talk about that type of stuff because I didn't know if you heard about any of that. So, hey, thanks, man.
It's all right in front of my face here, refreshing constantly. Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, no problem.
Call in anytime, Steven. Later. He cracks me up sometimes. Hey, Smitty. I don't know if you heard, but Aaron Rodgers is getting traded. I love Steven. Steven's my man. Steven, my main man, Steven. Main man, man. Yeah, so you guys want to dial in real quick? Let's take a few phone calls before I jump.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Gibson. Yeah, Gibson's a disaster. This is why you don't put faith in an RB that never had a college running back career. Gibson had it was literally 50 or what was it? It was 26 rushes to his name or 50 rushes to his name in college. And something like 20-something receptions to his name in college. It was something crazy. Gibson had no track record whatsoever. And that's why I was very cautious about him. But then he had such a good rookie year. Even I bought in. And I was like, Gibson's going to be the guy. He looks so good. They know how to utilize him. And Gibson fell apart. That's why you got out of the pedigree. You can't just trust on an exciting little flash in the pan moment, when a guy has no track record as an RB or a wide receiver at the college level. Gibson literally did almost near nothing in college. It was so crazy to think the way he kind of emerged. Kareem Hunt will get signed by the Bills. He could. Kareem Hunt definitely could go to the Bills. That's a definite potential move. Broncos O-line looking good, says Stacks. I mean, Sean Payton. Did anybody have a doubt Sean Payton would come in and try and clean this thing up, fast? You're live on the Fantasy Football Show. Who am I talking to?
Yeah, this is Warren. What's up, Smitty? How you doing, buddy?
I'm good, Warren. Just digging into all this free agent stuff, bro. It's getting crazy already.
It is, man. I've been a long-time follower of the show. I mean, pretty much since this past year, and, man, I can't get enough of your show, so I just first time calling in, man, and wanted to holler at you, see what you thought about Ekeler seeking a trade.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, definitely watch the beginning of this for a little bit more on that, but definitely feel like it's possible. He's 28 years old, and 28-year-old running backs should not get 4 or 5 year extensions with big fat money, even if it's a 3-year deal. He's literally on his last leg. And he's a small stature guy. But, if you're the Bills, why wouldn't you give... That's
what I was going to say. The Buffalo Bills, is that not a perfect place for him to go?
It's Yeah, definitely make sure you watch the beginning because I talk about this in pretty extensive detail. But
I just jumped on the show, saw you were live, and I was like, man, I just want to call in real quick, give you a quick caller, and hear your thoughts on this, man.
Don't ever feel like you can't repeat what I've said or whatever. I'm not saying that. But I'm just saying make sure you go back and watch the beginning for even more on this if you're interested in it. But I would say,
Absolutely.
I would say Buffalo, Philly, Cincinnati. If you're a team trying to compete with the Kansas City Chiefs, what better move than to use the Niners blueprint for giving up a second, a third, and a fourth rounder? And you might not even have to surrender all that. It might be a second and a third or a second and a fourth. The Niners did that for McCaffrey, and the Niners went as far as they went because of it. The Niners would not have even made the playoffs if they didn't trade for Christian McCaffrey. And Kyle Shanahan would be on the hot seat. Kyle Shanahan would be on the hot seat if they had not traded.
I love your take about Shanahan. I think he's a bozo, man, to be honest.
Bro, he's getting so much credit for what I believe John Lynch pulled off. And granted, it's his scheme. And I think Shanahan's an amazing offensive savant type mind. And so that's why they did well. But he's constantly stepping on his own junk. And I think it's really a blueprint, back to the topic at hand. It's a blueprint to save a team, put a team over the top. KC might do something like this. If you sit around and watch KC go get Derrick Henry, it's almost a defensive move. If Derrick Henry's available, a guy I think could struggle to stay healthy all year, you'd be dumb not to go grab him so that the Bills don't. What if KC goes and gets someone like that? Now, they can't get
Ekeler. If KC goes and gets him, that offense is unstoppable.
Yeah, and they can't get Ekeler because it's in the same division. But let's say the Bills get Ekeler. And then, it wouldn't surprise me if KC did a counter move. But Pacheco I like a lot. I don't want anybody to think that I don't like Pacheco.
I do like Pacheco, but again, I've heard you talk about before and other analysts, he's a 7th-round pick. They don't have a lot invested in him. So if they wanted a higher pedigree of running back taken, I'll always go get that.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't really. I mean, obviously, pedigree doesn't even mean anything because they dumped EH. To be honest, the Kansas City Chiefs don't really care where their running backs come from because they got Patrick Mahomes. He's going to throw to whoever he's got anyways and make them awesome.
So what we talked, I don't know if you were here. You weren't here because you just showed up, right?
Yeah, I wasn't here. I literally just hopped on.
Yeah, so Rappaport just tweeted this right here. I went on a Jimmy G tirade, and now I'm about to go on it again because it looks like they're closing in on a deal. Here's the news from Schefter. Jimmy G has landed the best spot for him. He's a Raider. Oh, my God.
Oh, my God.
The Raiders are closing in on a deal with Jimmy G, sources say, after 6 seasons with the Super Bowl appearance with the 49ers. Jimmy G is on his way to Vegas, the site of the season's Super Bowl. Well, guess what? He's not going to be in the Super Bowl. Let me just make that very clear for everybody that's reading this, getting excited, to reunite with Josh McDaniels. The writing's been on the wall for this one. McDaniels and Jimmy getting back together. Jimmy's going to get paid a bag, bro. I don't know what it's going to be.
He'll get $100 million. He'll get $100 million.
Yeah, $100 million, $30 million a year plus. And then, I don't know, like 70 guaranteed, 70, 80 million guaranteed. This guy's going to get paid bank. It's unreal. These RBs, if Kenneth Walker wanted an extension right now, let's just say he was a little further on in his career. He was in his final year, right? Kenneth Walker, young Kenneth Walker wanted an extension. He'd get a $35 to $45 million deal or some stupid number. Jimmy G's going to get, and that's not even guaranteed. Jimmy's going to get $70 million guaranteed on a $100+ million deal. It's ridiculous. I know the quarterback position is important, but this is barely a quarterback that we're looking at right in front of our face right here. Unbelievable. Devante Adams plummets. Where are you, Warren?
Adams is hating his life. He's like, we're getting this bum.
Where do you put?
Where
do you put Adams?
I don't believe in Jimmy G.
Where do you put Adams?
Why not keep? This is what I'm saying. Why not keep Derek Carr? They're literally the same guy. In my opinion, there's no difference between them.
No, I disagree with you there. I appreciate you, but Derek Carr, Jimmy G couldn't hold Derek Carr's jockstrap.
I don't think they're that far apart.
Derek Carr is so much better than Jimmy G, in my opinion. Derek Carr also, if we even take away the winning part, like the whole, okay, you think Jimmy and Carr will win the same amount of games? Like, I can understand that.
Jimmy's a good game manager.
I could understand that argument if you want, but in terms of fantasy football, which is at the heart of a lot of what we talk about,
you're right.
There's no way. Derek Carr just
he's the bottom 5 quarterback in fantasy.
Bro,
talk about that.
What did Derek Carr just do for Devante Adams? 1,600 yards.
Devante another top 3 receiver in fantasy football.
So how are we having this conversation then? I guess is what I'm saying. Like
no. I was speaking more in terms of like regular football, not fantasy.
Well, both.
No,
both. Jimmy G's been on a winning team.
I think they're close in stature as far as regular quarterbacks in the NFL, but as far as fantasy, I would always rather have Derek Carr.
Well, yeah, but even if so there you go. But even so, I think Jimmy G, the lights are coming on at the club. You're about to see what Jimmy G really looks like with the lights on, bro. It's
I
not.
Can't wait.
It's not.
And he's got a shitty offensive line to back him up now too.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the 49ers offensive line protected much better,
bro.
Than
he was on a winning team. He wasn't a winning court. He wasn't a guy that wins, in my opinion.
Sure.
But we'll see.
I agree with you. And one thing before we get off the sports media, I just want to say thank you for this past season, man. The first clip I ever caught of you was over around July, and you said A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts to the moon. Bro, I got them both in my draft along with Jamar Chase and others. I just want to say thank you for the championship. You provided me with that information.
Yeah,
that's where I've been a big fan of.
Let me play the tripod for you real quick. Hang tight.
The tripod, also likened to pyramids in ancient Egypt, are constructed using Burrow or Hurts, Chase or a JB Hull or Walker.
Get a tripod. Get a tripod in 2023. All right, pal. Appreciate you.
Take care.
Later. Boy, Jimmy G. This is what I just put on Adam Schefter's tweet that Jimmy G just signing with the Raiders. I put 4 crying emoji, laughing emojis. Here come the Jimmy G love and support lovers and supporters. Hey, Jimmy G, you're talking bad about Jimmy G. Smitty, he's an absolute winner. He's a winner, and he's going to go win in Las Vegas with the worst defense in the NFL. Poor Adams. Adams plummets. I think I got to go live on a new live stream to talk about this in a separate video. Compartmentalize this mofo and put say goodbye to Devante Adams. Adams has been splendid. We've loved you, pal. It's been amazing. Way to go. Nice decision, pal. Way to go. You could have Jordan Love, at least in a worst case scenario, at this point in your career. Now look at you. You're playing with Jimmy Garoppolo. Way to go. Way to go, Devante. Go play with your best friend. In Dynasty, how do you value DJ Moore? I'd say like 14, 15. You know, I wouldn't put him top 12, but I think DJ Moore could definitely be really good. Yeah, good God. Bye, Adams. Bye, Adams. Carr, way better than Jimmy G. Got a stronger arm, too. Exactly. Imagine a world. Let's see. Let me. Hold on. Where's my... 1 second. Okay, here we go. Hold on. I got to install something. I was going to do something funny here. Dial in if you guys have a question. I appreciate you dialing in and discussing this. But if you got let's see here. Okay, can you hear me? Gosh dang it, I messed up my shit. I messed. Okay, I'm back. Never mind. I was gonna try and do something funny, but I'm just gonna close this out because it's screwing with the live stream here. I was gonna try and do one of my voice modification thing, but in a world where you get rid of Derek Carr and bring in Jimmy Garoppolo to win a Super Bowl, because he's got more rings than any active quarterback in the NFL. I don't know. Anyway, what do you guys think about this? We got 176 people in the room. Jimmy G just announced landing in a Las Vegas Raider uniform. Where do you guys have Adams? We did a ranking of Adams earlier. This is a pre Jimmy G to Las Vegas. JJ, Chase, Cup, Adams. I mean, a rough ranking, right? These could be a different order a little bit, but Adams was around 4 or 5. Now Adams is probably in this range here, what we circled, a Waddle, St. Brown, Olave territory, probably below A.J. Brown, probably below Lamb. Bills have agreed with guard Connor McGovern on a 3-year, $23 million deal. Miami Dolphins giving former quarterback Mike White a 2-year deal worth $16 million. Yes, baby, Mike White in the building. I love this. Mike White's probably starting at some point. We've talked about this. This is unbelievable news. Mike White signing a 2-year deal, $16 million with the Miami Dolphins. Let me put this on screen here. This is unbelievable. This is great news, everyone, because, look, Tua's not staying upright. And for the Dolphins to secure a solid quarterback, he's going to have, where is this? Where is this? You're live. Oh, no, new Noah hung up. He didn't have patience. Noah, exercise patience, pal. Miami Dolphins are giving QB Mike White a 2-year deal worth $16 million per Adam Schefter. That's nice. Yeah, we called that one, didn't we, Lewis? Lewis says, nice prediction, Smitty. Look, this is what we needed. Miami Mike had a plan all along. And this guy's better than Tua. I know everyone's going to say, no, Smitty, you're telling me Mike White in New York was better than Tua in Miami? No, listen to what I'm saying. You put Tua in New York during that year and put Mike White in Miami last year, Mike White does better than Tua probably did. So it's all about where he is. Mike White is a good quarterback, could become great in Miami. Tua's a mediocre to good quarterback that comes borderline great in Miami. I think Tua becomes borderline great. Borderline great's pretty good compliment. In Miami, Tua's borderline great. But Mike White, who's good, I didn't say he was great. He could become great maybe. We don't know. But he's good. He becomes great. Smitty on smoke with these predictions. Bro, I can't believe we're nailing some of these. Yeah. Let's see here. Mike White Baby says TM42. He also needs to stay healthy, but that's what the Raiders should have done. They should have taken Mike White. New Noah dialed in, but he had to drop off. No problem. Miami hates Tua. They don't hate Tua, but Tua's not staying upright, bro. Love Stars, I don't know what makes you think Tua is a safe option whatsoever. They hate Tua. What do you mean they hate Tua? They could have went after Lamar, but they didn't, bro. And so Mike White going to Miami. Let's go. Let's go, bro. I'm loving Miami Mike. Miami Mike is amazing. He's such an aggressive coach. Such a good coach. I don't agree with what he did to Tua, obviously. I've been very hard on him for that. But look, that's his scarlet letter. Okay. Unbelievable. Mike White's going to be a phenomenal quarterback in Miami if he gets into that lineup. Wow. Mike White, look at this contract, $16 million. Jimmy G's going to get what is Jimmy G's deal? Is that final? Let me pull up Jimmy G's deal. Unbelievable. Mike White season, baby. We got so much to talk about. Jimmy Garoppolo, 49ers quarterback. Jimmy Garoppolo signing with the Las Vegas Raiders per Diana, and Adam Schefter. Jimmy G's, wow. This is ridiculous, bro. This deal is insane. This deal is absolutely insane. You get Mike White for $16 million, you Miami magnificent man, Mike. You get Mike White for $16 million, and the Raiders get a 3-year deal, $67.5 million, $34 million guaranteed for Jimmy Garoppolo, $67 million. Mike White, 14, Jimmy G. Yeah, this is the Raiders. Jimmy, we don't give you $34 million guaranteed to come here and drop an egg. Drop a deuce here in Las Vegas, my guy. $34 million guaranteed, $67.5 million. Mike White, a better quarterback, is getting paid $16 million to throw missiles and play track and field with Tyreek Hill and Waddle. What an amazing move by Miami Mike. Oh, wait. What about our Moon Man? Maybe Mike White's our surprise Moon Man. Maybe Mike White in the bottom corner of the Moon Man list, he remains. You know what I'm saying? Because honestly, where's our Mike? Where's our quarterback? Our surprise quarterback, Miami Dolphins surprise quarterback. It got bumped off. Hold on, where is it? It's somewhere in here. Here it is. There he is at the bottom. He's hiding. This is Mike White. How did we know this was Mike White? This is unbelievable. God, my sound is all screwed up. I got to restart my system a little later. Let me see if I can get in my audio settings, but I have no sound right now. Do you guys hear any sound like when I hit these buttons? I don't hear any audio. Nothing's playing. I got to restart. Man, dude has 2 top wide receivers. It's going to be unreal. Mike White. Give Mike White a round of applause. Let's give Mike White a round of applause. Mike White, appreciate you, my guy. Mike White, I don't think we have any sound. But you know, it doesn't matter. This is a special occasion. This one goes out to Mike White. Mike White, we appreciate you. Mike White, we know you're starting games at some point. We're praying for Tua. Prayers up. We don't want anything to happen to Tua, but Tua's not staying upright. Mike White, 16 mil. What a day. What a day. Miami Mike doing damage. Absolutely impressed with Miami Mike right now. All right, guys, appreciate you. I will see you all a little bit later. I may go live on the Devante Adams, Jimmy G, Mike White situation. Talk about QBs in a little bit. Hang tight. Be back. Appreciate you all. Super chats. Did I get to the super chats? Super chats. Let's see. Super chat from Christian. In Dynasty, how do you value DJ Moore? Thank you for the super chat, Christian. Very, very appreciative of that. Are you still here, Christian? I would say like 14, 15, 16. I don't think you can put him above. Like here's the QB list that we talked about earlier. Like he's down in this, like you got like 3 or 4 wide receivers, Debo, other guys, and then like maybe DJ Moore's in that 14, 15, 16 range, which isn't disrespectful. It just gives you upside, room for upside. Unbelievable. I can't believe all this news. This is crazy. Mike White, baby. Look at this. Look at this young man, this strapping young man heading over to Miami to throw missiles to his track and field wide receivers. Let's go. Let's go, Mike White. Amazing move. Miami Mike making moves. So impressed by this individual. Chiefs right tackle. 3-year, $24 million deal. What do we got? Chiefs. Yeah, oh, man. This is. I have a feeling we hear about A-Rod in a little bit. Aaron Rodgers news coming in, inbound soon. I can feel it. I can feel it. I can smell it. I can smell Aaron Rodgers sitting back watching all this going, you know what? We're going to do it. We're going to do it live. I'm going to drop my news very, very soon. News going to keep rolling in. I'll see you all in a little bit. Subscribe if you're new, guys. This is your one-stop shop for breaking news and all that, so make sure you're subscribed. Let's go. Appreciate you all. See you tonight. See you in a few minutes.